everyone, this is James from TDB here, bringing you another In-Between. So today we will be drinking some tea. We're going to be drinking some tea, some young tea from Chensheng. So the tea I will be drinking is the Yin Banzhang, which just literally means silver banzhang, from 2023. It's a tea that we brought on a couple of times, and so this one does have that banzhang name on it, so that's worth noting for sure. But this is one of those banzhang that's not outrageously expensive. So if you don't want to spend $1,000 on the cake, this one is $84 for a 200-gram one. So it's not a cheap tea by any means, but it's also not like the highest end one. So for me at least, I'm looking at this tea because it's kind of, I'm hoping that it fits the banzhang image, but maybe isn't quite as powerful as the more expensive offerings, which I've had a couple of times, and it is indeed very, very strong. So what is the banzhang image? So if you've never had banzhang tea, it's a very kind of sought after area, and basically kind of the taste profile that we'd expect is a fair bit of strength, a fair bit of bitterness, certainly from a younger banzhang. Once it gets older, it might mellow a little bit, and then we would expect quite a nice aftertaste or a huidan, so returning to the throat. So those are the kind of things to look out for. It's a fairly, it's one of those profiles that I think is pretty easy to spot once you kind of know to look for it. And yeah, funny thing about this tea is I actually originally wanted to bring this tea on last year and accidentally bought the wrong one, which is on me. It's not on Chensheng. I bought the Yinxiang, but I had been wanting to feature this for a while, so I did pick up a cake or two, and they sent me this nice little sample, so I don't need to dig into those little 200-gram cakes. So yeah, we will be drinking this tea in just a moment here. All right, so let's get into this tea. So I have not actually had this tea yet. We have brought on the Yin Banzhang to a couple episodes before. I don't believe it's actually graced an Inbetweenisode. So yeah, this will be interesting to try, just because I think when I had the Yinxiang, that was also blind, and I kind of caught me a little bit off guard by the lack of bitterness there, because I was expecting hopefully something that a little bit more like this. So as those of you that follow closely probably know, I don't drink a lot of young pu'er, so these sessions are not necessarily focused on fun purely, but more on judging the tea for future potential for aging. So how will this tea do? How is it now? And what characteristics would we expect to continue as the tea ages? So cheers. Let's go ahead. This is steep number 1, and I have steep number 2 waiting as well. Nice body, kind of has that acorn floral thing. Yeah, the leaves are small. They were nice and loose here, so they weren't super pressed together because I am drinking from the sample. Very fast sweetness coming to the mouth as well. There's definitely some bitterness here. I would expect that bitterness to grow as the next couple steeps go. Drinking about 5 grams here for 75 milliliters. Okay, let's see steep number 2. So usually when testing these teas, I skip steeps 1 and 2 are really to scope it out, and then steep 3 or 4, I'm either really going to start to push the tea, just kind of test its limits a little bit, or I might lean back if it's already quite strong from those first couple. So cheers. Yeah, it has a very sturdy hay base to it. I like the density of the material too. This is definitely, I think, hitting the mark as far as something that seems exactly what I would expect. And so yeah, when I want these Chensheng teas, when I want these banzhang teas, I do want it to be strong. I want it to punch me in the face. I'm looking for that strength and that potency here in a way that I probably wouldn't if I was looking at I don't know, like a 20-year-old Taiwanese boutique. If that started punching me in the face, I'd have to think about it a little bit. But here in this case, I like the punch. Bring it on. Yeah, it's interesting. The bitterness, I feel like, in this tea is far more kind of that conventional bitterness than something like the bawang, which has this very particular almost aspirin pill-like bitterness to it. So comparing those two teas might be an interesting one at some point, because I do like both of them. This one is a bitterness that I'm very familiar with. I think anyone that's had the kind of Rapur, specifically kind of Munghai era Shishuangbana, or even better Bulong or Banzhang, would be very familiar with this. Getting a lot of familiar hay, maybe slight floral, grassy notes coming off this. Completely expected for something of just 2 years old. Yeah, nice sweetness coming into the mouth. I can feel it now coming into my throat a little bit. So yeah, let's push this. This is strong, but it's not overwhelming. So let's see if we can make it overwhelming, or let's just see how it does. So we'll go. Pushing it doesn't mean we're gonna let it go for 2 minutes or anything like that. We're gonna let this go for just 15 seconds, so ease a little bit off of that flash burn. Yeah, and Chensheng makes a lot of tea. So, I mean, someone that goes there and just knows them for their kind of very nice, expensive Lao Banzhang, check out teas like this. I mean, it's nice to be able to capture some of that same profile, but maybe of a kind of less intense, less pungent quality with something like this. Because, yeah, I mean, I think not everyone can afford $1,000 cake. A lot more people can afford something that's sub 100, and the fact that this is sub 100 for 200 grams, pretty good, yeah. Yeah, so still a lot of hay, grassy notes there. Because we are brewing a very loose material here, we would expect the extraction to be quite quick too, and that's about what we're seeing here. It's not taking a lot of time to get into kind of the guts of it. Cheers. Oh yeah, that brings a bitterness. Let's just see how that hangs out on the mouth here, and just see if that Huigan comes fast. Okay, yeah. So this tea is properly strong. I'd give this tea good remarks on that. It's very much living up to about what I'd expect. Again, I'm not expecting this to be the biggest, most ass-kicking tea that I've ever had for how it's priced, but I think for the price point, this is pretty good. So I would definitely recommend people check this out if you can. There's a lot of stuff in flux with China right now in terms of trade and tariffs, but hopefully this is a tea that people can try. Oh yeah, lots of bitterness, lots of that green hay bitterness, and yeah, you could definitely brew it in a way that it wouldn't be quite as in your face here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 4. I am enjoying this tea a fair bit. Definitely crosses me as exactly what I would hope for as far as being from the Banzhang or even just Bulong area. Yeah, and I can feel that sweetness coming in too, and it's going into the throat too. One thing to pay attention to is how far back it goes, how deep it goes. Some teas you can almost feel it in your chest, in your diaphragm, very downward focusing. I wouldn't say this is quite on that level, but this is doing some nice sweetness in the throat. Definitely pretty young to be drinking. I wouldn't have this on an empty stomach. I just had some crackers before doing this episode, just because I knew I was doing a younger tea. And yeah, I only bring on probably younger teas a handful of times throughout the year onto these Inbetweenisode. So I definitely want to make those episodes count. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's bitter. As you let it cool down too, that it gets even perhaps a little more pronounced. Yeah, kind of getting like that acorn nutty thing there. Nice tea. Cheers. Okay, so this is probably closer to how I would brew it if I wanted to really enjoy these steeps here. There's still some bitterness. It's not quite as intense and pungent as the third steep. But yeah, lose out a little bit on body and things like that. But yeah, it's still more or less kind of the same profile. Okay, so that just about wraps up this Inbetweenisode. I am going to finish steeping this one, drinking this next steep off camera. So thank you all for tuning in. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know if you have tried the Yin Banzhang. I think if you want to get the Yin Banzhang profile, you don't want to spend a lot, I think this is a great tea. I think it's really perfect for something like that, of just getting kind of the gist of what makes Banzhang without spending a crazy amount of money. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. I'll see y'all next time.